As you know from the Italian expression, the fish stinks from the head down. But I can tell you two fish that don't stink, okay? And that's me and the president. Now, if you want to talk about the chief of staff, we have had odds, we have had differences. When I said we were brothers from the podium, that's because we're rough on each other. Some brothers are like Cain and Abel. Other brothers can fight with each other and then get along. I don't know if this is repairable or not. That will be up to the president. If Reince wants to explain that he's not a leaker, let him do that.
Well, that's incoming White House Communications Director Anthony Scaramucci. We're here at the White House today, and if he walks by or any other official walks by, we'll try to get him to come over and talk to us. But he has just released that tweet that we just brought you. He also is responding to an article in The New Yorker to reporter Ryan Lizza, in which, whether he didn't know he was on the record or not, we know that he didn't say it had to be off the record, because there are a lot of quotes about Reince Priebus and who leaked the details of a meeting at the White House and the dinner at the White House. And then it gets very vulgar in this article that we won't go into too much detail about a number of different officials, saying that at one point he's going to fire them all. A White House senior official responding to Fox News producers just said this, quote, "This is getting out of hand. I am honestly getting concerned for my safety in the office tomorrow. This type of behavior is unbelievable. Working in the White House and something like that is said, it is a disgrace." So, with that, let's bring in our panel. Mercedes Schlapp, columnist for The Washington Times. Susan Page, Washington Bureau Chief at USA Today, and syndicated columnist Charles Krauthammer. Susan, we've all covered Washington for a long time. We've often said this, there has not been anything like this.
That's right. I mean, we've had rivals for power all the time. Every White House has rival power centers. But we've never seen anything that is so public, so vulgar, threatening violence against leakers, vowing to fire them. It's really extraordinary. And here's the question. Do you think this hurts Anthony Scaramucci with President Trump, or does it help him because he's so combative and he's pushing back so strongly? But clearly this is just one more example of something happening in the Trump administration that we just have never seen happen before.
Charles, you know, in that tweet that I referenced earlier, Scaramucci says that he sometimes uses colorful language. Obviously he's a New Yorker, but what about this?
Being a New Yorker is no excuse. This is the degradation of the presidency. This is where we have come to. None of us have ever seen this. The reason is that it is not to be done. That kind of language is not to be used, particularly when it's infighting in the White House. The fact that the president is allowing all this to go on, I think, means that it rests with him. He's the only one who can actually restrain this. He appears not to. Perhaps he believes that Scaramucci is the guy who will clear the swamp in the White House. But this is really disgraceful.
Just moments ago, Mercedes, Sarah Huckabee Sanders said there's no official comment from the White House on these comments that have been printed. Your thoughts on
Well,
all
I think
this?
it's left a lot of us in shock. I think that it's trying to understand here that you had Scaramucci come out last week very polished, being very open, talking to the press. But I think it's important to realize that journalists are not therapists, and it's very important to know the rules of the game. The rules of the game off the record, what does that mean, and figuring out that component as well. And I think that part of that comes with experience. So I think for Scaramucci, it would have been more of an opportunity to do maybe less talking and more organizing the White House. He came in to purge, to make changes in the White House communication staff, because the president was not liking the way the messaging was coming out. But here's the problem. When you have stories like this, it continues to be a distraction in talking about what matters to the president, which is that of his legislative agenda, which is health care reform, tax reform, getting jobs back for Americans. So I think this is just one of these unfortunate incidents and a mistake that has been made early on.
You know, this article I referenced is getting a lot of attention, but so is a Wall Street Journal photo that was tweeted out by the Wall Street Journal and was a part of the interview they did with the president. And there you see this stare down that is real, not photoshopped, in the Oval Office between Reince Priebus on the left and Scaramucci on the right. Susan, where does this go from here? Can Reince Priebus come from out of this and somehow remain a credible steering of the trains coming in and out of the office if it's this battle behind the scenes.
Yeah, you just can't hide the body language in that extraordinary photo. Now, the Wall Street Journal noted that they had previously, during their interview, been seated next to each other on a couch, but you certainly see pretty hostile. It looks like they're going to have guns drawn in the next minute. I think it is hard to imagine both of these individuals survive on the White House staff, and I think Scaramucci at the moment is in the president's favor. But we'll see. It's sort of like before Sean Spicer finally left. 1,000 times he was predicted he was about to leave. Reince Priebus is now in that situation where there's now an expectation that he's going to resign, but it doesn't happen until it happens.
And again, we welcome senior officials to come out here to special report. As we continue right after the break, we'll talk more about this and talk about the Attorney General. Hear from him. He's with Tucker Carlson. You hear the whole interview at 8. We'll come back right after this break.
Right here, Dad.
The Infiniti QX60. Impressive performance and seating for 7. Right now, lease the QX60 for $439 a month at your local Infiniti retailer.
Here is something big banks don't want you to know about your IRA or 401k. Store your retirement at home. With the Augusta Home Delivery Gold IRA, you can transfer your current IRA or 401k into approved physical gold and silver coins. No management fees, no depository fees, and you have direct physical control over your IRA because your IRA gold and silver coins will be delivered to your door with free shipping and free insurance. You can store approved coins in your safe at home or in a safety deposit box at your local bank. Augusta Precious Metals is the leader in home delivery gold IRAs. With an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau, AA from the BCA, gold and silver have been the family business for over 40 years. Call 800-345-4IRA for our free guide to Augusta Home Delivery Gold IRAs and discover how you can get up to $2,000 in silver free. If you can't hold it, do you really own it?
We asked people to just go about their day to try a new feature from Match. So Sarah, what did you do today?
I grabbed a coffee.
Yes, you have to do that.
And then I checked out a new art exhibit.
So now you have the Match app up. Open up the Missed Connections tab for me.
Okay.
It shows you people you cross paths with in real life.
Ooh, I crossed paths with Josh near Pine Street. Maybe he was at the gallery?
Maybe he loves art. Imagine what else you have in common.
He's cute. I'd like to find out.
I am on the edge of my seat.
Match. Better ways to make a real connection. Start for free today.
Your father and I are looking for a new car.
Car shopping. You're going to need a guru.
Guru? You can't own the deal until you own you. Are you ready to own you?
Not that kind of guru. Car gurus. Car gurus analyzes everything from price and vehicle history to dealer reputation, then shows you the best deals from top-rated dealers.
Feel the deal, Alice.
Car Gurus. Search 5 million cars in about 5 seconds. Find great deals at cargurus.com.
Where are we? About to see Progressive's new Home Quote Explorer, where you can compare multiple quote options online and choose what's right for you.
Whoa.
Flo and Jamie here to see HQX. Flo and Jamie, request entry. Slovakia. Triceratops. Tapioca. Racquetball. Staccato.
Miyomo Jaime.
Pumpernickel. Pudding.
Hey, guys.
Home Quote Explorer. It's home insurance made easy.
That's what it is. Hey, guys.
You've seen the president's criticism of you. Do you think it's fair?
Well, it's kind of hurtful, but the President of the United States is a strong leader. He is determined to move this country in the direction he believes it needs to go to make us great again. And he has had a lot of criticisms, and he's steadfastly determined to get his job done, and he wants all of us to do our jobs, and that's what I intend to do.
Message being there, I'm not leaving. If the president wants to get rid of me, he'll have to tell me that. We're back with our panel. Charles, your thoughts on this as you hear more senators and lawmakers coming to Sessions' defense up on Capitol Hill?
This is a man, obviously, who wants to keep his job, who will say nary a bad word about the president. and in a way he draws a lot of sympathy. I can see why the senators around him, the Republicans, are rallying to his support, and as you pointed out last night, the astonishingly hypocritical support he's getting from Democrats. But what counts is the support he's getting from Republicans. I think the president understands that this is not an ordinary cabinet member. This is not an ordinary appointment. This is a guy who was with him at the beginning, the guy who was the touchstone for Trump's conservatism, who brought a lot of people on board. And I expect, I mean, he was a dead man walking, but I expect the president's going to back off. And look what he's got inside the White House. He's got a firestorm going on there. I think he'll handle one at a time, not two.
Yeah, Mercedes, I mentioned the senators coming to his defense. Not only Senator Grassley saying we're not even going to hold a hearing for another AG. Here's Senators Sass and Graham talking out today.
I've come to the floor to keep my promise and to offer a word of humble advice to the president. If you're thinking of making a recess appointment to push out the Attorney General, forget about it. The presidency isn't a bull, and this country isn't a china shop.
If Jeff Sessions is fired, there will be holy hell to pay. Any effort to go after Mueller could be the beginning of the end of the Trump presidency, unless Mueller did something wrong.
Mercedes.
Yeah, clearly the GOP senators are sending a direct message, which is limiting President Donald Trump's political options in terms of what would happen to an Attorney General, Jeff Sessions. And what's kind of surprising to me is the fact that when you look at Sessions and his record thus far, that department is actually one of the departments very much in action, pushing forward the president's agenda, whether it be on sanctuary cities. You know, you've seen gun prosecutions go up with 23%, dealing with the MS-13 gangs. There's real activity happening under the leadership of Sessions. And one thing I have to say is that conservatives are rallying around Sessions, and they do believe that the political fallout, if Sessions were to be fired or resign, would be 10 times worse than what we saw with the firing of James Comey.
And Susan, quickly, I just want to turn to the transgender issue. We have reported that the National Security Advisor, H.R. McMaster, called the Secretary of Defense, Jim Mattis, Tuesday night, 6:30, to tell him the decision that the president had made, and then tweeted out the next morning. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs sent out this memo to the Pentagon staff that we're told Mattis was aware of that said there is no change as of now, that a tweet is not an official declaration, and that right now the policy is the same until the Secretary of Defense says differently.
Well, pretty amazing both times to have a major policy shift announced via Twitter, and then to have the nation's top military officer say basically, until I hear it from the Pentagon chief, we're not going to implement anything, and you need a different process underway. I mean, this is a message from the nation's top military officer to the President of the United States. It's just there are no words. Yeah,
Charles, very quickly, what does that send to the rest of the world?
Look, this is as close to insubordination as you can get, and yet it's justified. You don't put out so cynically a change in policy that the military has not approved. And I think it's a warning to the president that he should be careful. It tells the rest of the world that there's disarray inside the White House with the Attorney General is now spreading to the military, and this administration is coming apart.
Okay, debate